Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Temple of Possibilities. I am Minister William, or Reverend Will, if you wish, leading today's sermon of December 31st, 2023. And as always, we'll start with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, or what have you. All right, thank you. All right, today's sermon will be called, The Wet Pants, and it is on alltimeshortstories.com. There was a 9-year-old kid sitting at his desk when all of a sudden there was a puddle between his feet and the front of his pants got wet too. He thought his heart was going to stop, and he couldn't imagine how this might have happened. It had never happened before. He knew that if the boys find out about it, he would be teased all the time at the school. When the girls find out, they'll never speak to him again as long as he lives. The boy put his head down and prayed for a miracle. He knew that if anyone notices what he had done, he will never be able to face anyone in the school anymore. He looked up and he noticed the teacher was approaching him. As the teacher was walking toward him, a classmate named Susie, who was carrying a goldfish bowl filled with water, tripped in front of the teacher and inexplicably dumped the bowl of water in the boy's lap. The boy pretended to be angry with Susie, but all the while he thanked the situation. All of a sudden, instead of being the object of ridicule, the boy was the object of sympathy. The teacher took him downstairs, gave him gym shorts to put on while his pants dry out. All the other children were on their hands and knees cleaning up around his desk. The sympathy was wonderful, but as life would have it, the ridicule that would have been his was transferred to someone else, Susie. She tried to help. They told her that it was all her fault. Finally, at the end of the day, all of the students were waiting for the bus. The boy walked over to Susie and whispered, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" Susie whispered back, "I wet my pants once too." Moral: all of us go through all the good and bad things in life. We should always remember how we felt when we were in the same condition and should not mock others for being in it. Always try to understand their situation as if you are in it and help as much as possible, praying to God that today you are in a condition to help someone who needs it. Be patient and understanding. Life is too short for vengeful or malicious. Philip Brooks. There is a saying I see online a lot that there are two types of people. Those who went through it, so they try to make sure everyone else has to go through it too. And others who have went through it, so they work their hardest to make sure no one has to go through it again. If you if you went through something, you know how horrible something like this something like that situation can be. Always do your best to help those who are going through the same hardships you yourself once went through. Help them so that they won't have to struggle as bad as you did. It is our responsibility in life to help those going through hard times as best as we can. And especially if we know what it's like to be going through what they're going through. Just because you had to go through something doesn't mean that others should have to go through it as well. If you're able to stop others from going through the same heartache and pain that you once had to go through, you should do it. Don't just sit back just because you had to go through it, that you think they should have to go through it as well. You going through this pain and this hardships and making it out makes you the perfect person to help them out. Because you know how it feels. You know how to fix it. You know how to get through it. And instead of having them go through it alone like you had to, or help them out. Or maybe if somebody helped you out, pass it along and help the next person. But never be one of those people who said, I had to go through this, so everyone else has to go through this as well. That won't stop these pains and these situations from happening. It will just make things worse. The best we can do is help out, and if the situation does happen to somebody else, at least it will be less impactful. But with that, today is the last day of Chris Johanna Kwanzaa, and I hope everyone had a good winter holiday, whether it be Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and the upcoming New Year's tomorrow. And or if you celebrated them all, that is great as well. But thank you, and remember, when we all come together, the possibilities are endless. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.